Hi there. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. Welcome to our Friday live class. Please feel free to leave your questions at any time in the chat, and I'll answer them for you live. At the beginning, let's talk briefly about the words worth, worthy, and wordy, simply because these have some patterns that might be useful for you to hear about. So looking at worth and worthy, we have the same spelling in the first part of the word, but in worth, we have a voiceless TH sound. So that sound is made with the tongue between the teeth. The air is blowing, it should continue, and my voice is not turned on, worth. So similar words would be earth and birth. Note also that these letters OR, they actually say the ER sound. So earth, birth. We have a lot of different spellings for this sound, so don't let that be misleading if you see the letters OR. I just recently made a short video about that, talking about the word word, and it gives you some techniques for words like word and worth. So do check that out. I have some longer videos about OR and ER as well that might be helpful for you. After class, I'll put links to those videos in the comments and in the description for this video, so you can use this class as a way to find other resources. As we're watching, I'll be answering your questions and I'll tell you, okay, I have a video about that, or do check out this resource. So do come back after class and check those things out. Also, if you're watching this not live, you can leave your questions and requests in the comments afterwards, and I'll direct you to resources and cover your words in future classes. Okay, so worth, we have our voiceless TH. That's also at the start of some words like think and thing. And then in worthy, you can hear this TH is a voiced TH. So there's nothing different about where my tongue goes. I just have my voice on. So when I say worth, there's no vibration here. Worthy, I just keep my voice on through that, and it makes that the sound. Again, same thing with the letters OR, saying the ER sound in worthy. And then the Y just says the E sound. And then looking at worthy and wordy, the D sound is the difference here. So it's also a voiced sound. Watch out if you're saying worthy, you don't want it to sound like wordy. If it does, it's because your tongue is stopping the air. Wordy. My tongue goes behind my teeth, and the air completely stops and then is released. So for many people, the TH sounds end up stopped. This might sound like wort and wordy. That means your tongue is pushing against your teeth, or it might be in the right spot, but you're not letting the air flow. So practice with that airflow. You can get more help for the TH sound in my TH sounds playlist and videos for TH. Also in my Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com, I go through all of the different sounds of English in detail to help you with accent error patterns and pronunciation for those sounds. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to share about these words, just to get you thinking about how spelling can be confusing, because the same letters can make different sounds. The same sounds like can be spelled lots of different ways. So it's always something to keep in mind when you're looking at how to pronounce something. Also, something to keep in mind is that certain sounds are going to be more challenging than others, and knowing what your error pattern is, what you do that is not the same as the standard American pronunciation or standard English pronunciation, can be helpful as well. Okay, I see we have some questions coming in, so I'm looking forward to answering those. Do feel free to ask your question at any time. You can just type it there in the chat and I'll answer for you. Okay, so here's Mahmoud. I'm glad you were able to make it to the live class, and we can answer your question that you were asking about earlier this week. So we're talking about coincident and coincidental. Coincident. So we have coincidence, coincident would be an adjective. I don't know if we use that. So let's put in coincidental. And are you thinking about coincidence? Like the noun? Something was a coincidence. Then we don't have the T. We have an S sound, coincidence. These both have coincidence has stress on the in, and coincidental has stress on the den. So it's just coincidental that happened. It was a coincidence that I ran into you. So that gives you a couple phrases. And then coincident, I think we could use that as in it was a coincident occurrence, but I'm not so sure about that. I think you might be thinking about coincidence with the S sound versus coincidental. Let me know if I didn't answer that for you accurately. Okay, and then to break it down a little bit more, for coincidence, we have an O. So between the O and the I, you might notice there's a little W because I'm moving from the rounded to the unrounded. Coin. This C is a S sound. Coinca. That I is an I or a schwa. Coincidental. Red tent vowel on our stress syllable. And then either a schwa or no vowel there for that ending. Coincidental. Till. We're going to go right from the T to the L. Coincidental. You'll also hear people say it coincidental without that T. And then coincidence, same pronunciation, but stress on the in, coincidence. Great. Thank you for your question. And I see you're also asking about a couple other words. I'll come back to those after I've covered some other people's requests. If there's time, I'll take duplicate requests. Okay, so we have a question about the word winged. And you're right, we can say it as winged with just the NG sound plus the D sound. So that would be like winged, a four-winged creature. I guess there's probably not anything with four wings, or winged. This is one that we can say with two syllables instead of just one. So then it would be winged or winged. Probably they would, in the dictionary, they would have the I sound, a winged creature. It may be that this is the adjective, because that's how I think of having heard it, a winged creature. And winged might be a verb, like it winged through the air. I don't really know if that's a verb or not. Let's check the dictionary for that, because I think that's interesting. And I really like having good online references, because you can see a variety of, if there's anything unusual about pronunciation or meaning, or if certain pronunciations are used in certain contexts. So the dictionary I like is the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. And you can see, you can just go directly there, or you can also see how to get there. If you're on speechmodification.com, you can use my free practice materials. And this is useful for searching for any particular word or topic. So go to the online practice free trial, and you'll see here on the top right corner, there's a search box. And so if I'm looking for a particular word or sound, I can search in there. I'm going to just type in dictionary for my search right now, and it'll show you all of the lessons I have related to using the dictionary. So this top one just talks about dictionaries in general. And so here we have some information about how to read the dictionary, and also links to the dictionaries that I like, including the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. So in that dictionary, let's look up your word winged or winged. So I'm thinking that it might tell us the verb, it winged through the air, is where we have the one syllable, and a winged creature for the adjective. Okay, so this is just showing winged. It's not showing winged. And it's showing it for the adjective, and I don't see a verb. Other matches. So let's see if there's something else here in this this word winged. Winged, having wings. Okay, so it may also be that winged is a more old-fashioned pronunciation for that, but it is a correct option. So in that case, I would also check a couple other different online dictionaries because you'll see different information depending on what dictionary you look at. But I think you can use either, whatever you prefer, and probably whatever's easiest to say, winged or winged. Okay, great. We have a request for the word presumptuous. Presumptuous. Okay, so this one, knowing about how many syllables it has is pretty useful as well. And the syllable stress, we stress on the zum syllable. So that means when I was saying it before, I might have said it a little bit like presumptuous, but if we're using it in any natural speaking context, we're going to say presumptuous, where we're going to actually use a schwa, the sound in that first syllable because it's not stressed. Then our stressed syllable zum has the stressed schwa, letter S says Z, presumptuous, zumptu. I have to actually slow down and make sure I can tell what those sounds say. The TU says the CH sound and the U sound. And then we have just OUS says another schwa. So that would look like presumptuous. Presumptuous. One thing I will say is that this us, since they're unstressed, presumptuous, doesn't usually get all the way reduced to chus, presumptuous, but you don't really want to linger, not presumptuous, not a long time on those. Just go quickly. So if you hear it sounding a little more like presumptuous, that's just the oo and the vowels go very, very quickly. Okay, and then you also asked about stereotypically. So build that, I would say, from typically. I typically suggest, so our main stress is going to be on the tip of typically, and then add it is just like the word stereo as well, a little secondary stress on stereotypically. Da-da-da-da-da-da is the rhythm. So it would look like stare. The ER says the air diphthong. And then we have an E-O, stereo, stress on tip, typically. And then we don't usually say typically. There's no syllable there for that syllable there, so typically. So it would look like stare, E-O, typically. So long, short, short, long, short, short. And this is the main length. So typically, stereotypically. That's how I would suggest practicing that one. Good requests. Thank you so much. All right, let's see what else is coming in. We have a request about silent L in Wells. In Wells, I don't think that L is silent. Like I have a well and I have two wells. It is maybe a dark L. Well. I'm not really sure what you mean about that. Doing the L at the ends of words, wells, wills. This one isn't even that much of a dark L. If I'm doing something like fall, all, or feel, I have to keep the back of my tongue down. Well, I guess I am keeping the back of my tongue down. So I'm going to suggest check out my video for dark L. You can search on American Owl on my channel, or I'll also put the link here after class to help you with that. And if you're meaning something else by saying silent L there, just let me know and I'll come back to your request and try to answer your question more clearly. Okay, we have questions about the the words luck, lack, and lock. Okay, so if we have, yes, I see your point. So luck, lack, and lock. So when we're doing fox, that has the same as the ah of lock. What I would suggest, I do have some videos that go through the ah, and ah videos. And I think particularly use my video for the schwa, and the ah, because that's going to give you what you're looking for mostly with being able to do this ah word. So what I'm going to say is I'll tell you about the position for these sounds and then give you some spelling tips and some hints and suggestions. When we have luck, our tongue is central and fairly relaxed. So you don't want to be too far open. What a lot of people have, the problem they have with schwa is that they'll do a little bit more like la, la. They'll open up too much and be too tense on that sound. So what I would say is when you have to say it by itself, like luck, that's when it might come more open. Or if you said good luck, if it's stress that happens. If you say a luck or the luck or even just luck, try to match the vowel in those two. So for most people, when they say it short, the, just luck, some luck, it's easy for them to do this sound in the short, fast word, and it's harder for them to do it. I'll hear some luck. Like you can hear how some and luck don't sound the same. You want some luck. You want it to be the same in both. So use one of these short schwa sounds to help you get the longer schwa sound. And then when we're talking about lack, the back of my tongue is more lifted. My jaw is more open though. So that you can kind of pair it with a word like that or at, You're going to keep that back, the front of the tongue is down, the back might be a little more lifted and the mouth is more open. And then for lock, I think what happens here is people see that O. First of all, you have maybe the difficulty between schwa and ah. But second of all, they see that O and they think they need to do something more rounded or more closed. So think of this one, lock and fox, as really having a really open ah, and your tongue is pushed way down. So I would say la, lock, fa, fox. And again, maybe think about like father, fox. It might be easier for you to do that ah sound in a word like father and match it together with your fa, fox. So ah, open, mid, and forward and open. Okay, so respelling it, rethinking of it, matching and pairing similar words that might be easier, and then just spending some time on the contrast between luck and lock. Luck, less open, lock, more open, could help you, I hope. Okay, yes, that's definitely an important area. I do have a number of videos talking about how to avoid saying certain words. I know some people have difficulty with words like sheet or beach because they're concerned about this E versus I vowel happening. And I do also have a video about the word vowel because people have an issue with the V versus B happening. So these are areas where you want to say them correctly and feel confident in saying them correctly and honing in on other words like clean sheet and keeping that E sound the same between the two. And then also just V and B, learning the mouth differences for those can be helpful. Thank you for your question. I hope that helps you. Okay. So English vibes is going back to the winged. So I would say winged armchair. I wouldn't say winged in that case. probably. Okay, we have a question about singing. So I do have a video for singer and singing. And what's challenging here is that for a lot of people, doing that NG sound is the difficulty. You want to be lifting the tongue in the back, sing, but don't let it drop into a G. So I don't want singing, no G sounds, just the NG sound. You can feel where the NG sound is if you try a word like sin, feel that your tongue lifts in the front. Sink, sink, feel that your tongue lifts in the back. That's actually not an N, it's an NG sound. So you'll feel sink. That place where you lift for the K is the NG sound is just a little in front of that. Sing, We're not used to just lifting and saying that sound by itself, but you should feel your tongue pressing against the roof of your mouth, not behind the teeth. And so for singing, what you have to learn to do is go right from the ing into another ing without any G sneaking in there. So I would try sing, singing, ing. Get used to that transition. My video for singing can help you with that, as well as my video for singer, because it's the same thing for the NG ER in singer. We don't want singer, but singer, singer. Okay, good. Thank you. That's a tough word for a lot of people. So do check out my videos about the NG sound, learn about the placement and how that feels and sounds, and that should help you. Okay, we have a question about the word February. And I have a video for this one as well. There's two correct ways you can say this. It is correct to say February with both R sounds. That would sound like Feb, first syllable stress, February. That sounds like February. However, you'll notice most native speakers, or at least most Americans, don't say February. It's tough. And so we cheat and we say February. So we change this ru to a u, February. Basically like leave that R out, February. Which I would say, there might be a few sticklers who say, oh, don't do this, it's wrong. I would say 90% of Americans or more do it this way, so you might as well say it this way too. And it probably even is in the dictionary both ways now. So this one is much simpler, February versus February. Yeah, if you want to try to do the R's, just break it down, February, and work on speeding it back up, February. Stressed on the Feb, so that's longer, and the U-ary or Ruary is the fast part. Yeah, that's a tough one. February is around the corner too. I can't believe it's almost November, and it'll be Halloween this coming weekend. Okay, we have a question about cohesion, collusion, confuse, and confusion. So for cohesion, stress on the he syllable. It sounds like an O, E, and this S is a zh sound, like genre or measure. It's kind of like a voiced SH sound. Cohesion, zhen. We're going to basically have almost no vowel there or a little schwa. So that sounds like cohesion. And then when we move to collusion, again, we have the zh sound for the S, collusion. I would say in cohesion, yeah, maybe it's actually cohesion. I think it's an O, but you might hear it a little bit reduced to an cohesion. Maybe also just O like that without a lot of length on it. But collusion, I don't think we say collusion. I'm pretty sure that one is a k. Collusion. So that would be collusion. Cohesion, collusion, confuse. Here we have few. This U is a f and a y sound. Confuse, second syllable stress. So again, we have our schwa. So that sounds like confuse. And then confusion, when we change to confusion, this goes back to a zh sound rather than a z sound, but we still have the u. So that would be confusion. So I would write it like confusion. All right, speaking of confusion, this looks kind of like a mess. Sorry, there's a lot to cover in one. So cohesion, collusion, confuse, and confusion. Good words, though. Thank you for that request. Okay, let's see. We have a question about groin and bourgeoisie. Okay, so groin is just like coin, where we have an oi. You'll see that as a kind of an aw blend. I think of it as oi, more like an o-e, oi. Oi. It's gliding, so it's a diphthong where we move from the ah position to the I position, oi. And so for building the word groin, you would just want to do try Roy, like thinking about it like Roy, and then add your N, Roin, and add your D, groin. And then for bourgeoisie, this comes from the French, obviously. And you're maybe going to hear some slight differences for different American speakers on this. Some may be closer to the French. This is one that we do pretty much try to use the French pronunciation, but of course we have an American accent when we're saying it. So bourgeoisie, we stress on the last syllable Z. Then the bour is a boor. So this is something we don't usually have in American English, is that oor diphthong, or we would have an oo and then an r. Bourge. There's our zh sound that we were just talking about in illusion and collusion, like the voiced sh sound, the zh. Bourgeois, joie. So bourgeois, we have a w glide there. Wah, ah. An ah sound, I guess. Bourgeoisie. Okay, so I would kind of write that like bourgeois, bourgeoisie. That's kind of a strange one to try to rewrite with American spelling, because it's just got that French sound. Bourgeois, wah. This really wah is kind of in between an ah and an ah, I would say, somewhere on that spectrum, because the W makes it kind of rounded, but then we do end up with sort of more of an open ah, bourgeoisie. I heard there's slang now too, that's where you just say bourgie, is an insult for something that's maybe entitled. Anyway, don't quote me on that, because of course I'm too old to be very up on young people's slang, but anyway, that's another topic. Okay. Question about competent, competency, adequacy, fallacy, and fallacious. So competent, we can either say that this with the flap, like competent with a D, so that would be competent. And we almost do no vowel here. It's going to be moving right to kind of a syllabic end, competent, or competent. We can use a T there too, competent. He's pretty competent. It's pretty competent. You'll hear a mix of both. I think more likely with the flap. Competency, same thing. Competency. We just add the C. Competency or competency. Adequacy. Adequacy. We have first syllable stress, that black cat vowel. Adequacy. So that would sound like adequacy. Adequacy. Fallacy. Fallacy. We have again that black cat vowel, so it would sound like foul. That check out my video where I talk about pal to get that al combination. Foul. C, first syllable stress, and fallacious. I think changes. I better check this one in the dictionary as well. So there we would have the the schwa sound. Lacious with second syllable stress. Yeah, I'm confident about that. Fallacious, having to do with the fallacy. So it changes between fallacy and fallacious because of the syllable stress, what vowel sounds you'll have there. Okay, great. Question about the word catch. Catch does have an a vowel like black cat. So the cat catches a mouse. We have a question for the word attainable. So I think it was last week that we were talking about the initial A not being an A sound, but rather a schwa sound because we have the stress on the tain. So in a word like attainable, I would suggest saying attainable and then adding your attainable, attainable, because you want your schwa, your first syllable, to be very short and unstressed. So attainable. And then we have a syllabic L at the end there. Not much vowel at all, basically no vowel. Go right from your B to your O, bull, attainable. Great, okay. And we have a question about the word, like in the word custom, are schwa and quote unquote short U the same? So in this case, this is the sound. People will call that short U. I usually avoid long and short terms because I think they're confusing about duration, because this is actually held long. In custom, we have two schwas. So you're going to see custom, or you may see no schwa written there, but basically both of these sounds sound like a. This one is long, stressed, longer in duration. This one is short, unstressed, shorter in duration. When they say long U and short U, they're talking about oo for long U and or maybe for short U. I'm not even sure what that means necessarily. That's usually taught for spelling and pronunciation, but it's an oversimplification. Much better in my mind to think of looking up your word in the dictionary and knowing that this schwa, sound is always going to be versus that letter U can say other sounds as well, right? Because it can say ooh, it can say like in put and push. What I'm calling long and short might be confusing because depending on where it is in the word and how we're using it, we might hold it longer or hold it shorter. So yeah, but to answer your question without a lecture about using long and short, yes, probably what they mean by short U is schwa, unless they mean the input. So it depends on what text is referring to that. You can check out my vowels playlist and my vowel overview videos to see the contrast in all the different vowels. And also in my Sounds of English course, I talk about how you can learn the IPA symbols from the dictionary and then learn anchor words. So I will call this one either such fun or above nation. I call this one ooh, blue shoe, and this one good book. So you can have a vowel sound to compare to when you're looking at the symbol, and so you can know what words it's in. Okay, great. So I'm going to go back to a couple things that came in the beginning, and then we're going to wrap up for today. Wonderful questions, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of class and for the great questions. So I want to go back to Mahmoud wanted to know about fudged. That's a funny word. So fudged as in made a mistake, or actually it can also mean falsified. So fudged. This is a j sound that we often spell with letter J at the start of words. Here's our schwa. And then we don't say any sound for that D. So fudged, fudged. And then warned, same thing. No sound for that letter E. We have the or diphthong. So even though it says AR, it sounds like or. War. Warned. Okay, great. And then let's see, there may be a couple I missed along the way. I apologize if I miss yours. So going back to C, we have quick question about dark L or light L on feel when you're about to link it with like, as in I feel like. Yeah, I think if I'm doing I feel like, I can't get too light here, or it might lift up and sound like feel like. I don't want feel in any case, feel like, but you can probably do one L. So you can, if you do, for example, feel like, no, so that it doesn't work either. It sounds feel like, it makes it sound like a light L. So I do think you kind of need to use the dark L there. What I would suggest is thinking about it like feel like. In that way, you can kind of get away with one L. Feel like. As long as this kind of sound that precedes the dark L is there, feel like, that'll probably help you. Because if I'm doing feel like, what I'm doing is feel, I have to kind of have that dropping of the back of the tongue, feel, and the lifting of the front, feel like. So maybe use that technique to kind of mark that dark L without lingering on it too long and moving right into your light L of like. Okay, good. That's a tough one. I hope that helps you. Couple other second follow-ups or third follow-ups from people. We have a question about memoir. So that's like bourgeoisie, except for an war here. So first syllable stress, war. W sound, ah sound, R. So I would say just kind of memoir. Think about it like the word R and then with a W, memoir. And then question about charts, and uncharted. So chart, I would build from art, which if that's hard, just start with R, art, chart. The CH sound, you just want to have that, that quick burst of air, chart. Charts just adds the S sound. And uncharted, the un is unstressed. Then you want your chart. Uncharted. I would think about it like that. Because when we get to charted, our T can turn to a flap. So you want the same stress, charted, uncharted. Okay, great. Wonderful questions today. Thank you, everyone. Nice to see so many of you here. If you are watching this later as a replay, you can leave your questions and I'll come back to them in the comments. Do come back later if I mentioned when I was talking about your words, some other resources. I'll go through and put in some timestamps to talk about what we talked about and give you some links for other resources here on the channel and also on our website, speechmodification.com. We do have those free practice materials there as well as our online courses. All of our online courses are either free or available for under $2. So they're an inexpensive resource for you to go through and look at some of the foundation pieces that you need for pronunciation, for American accent, and they're just a way to work independently in a structured manner to kind of continue with improvements. I'll be back again tomorrow with our regular Word of the Day class that we have every day. And then for our channel members, we'll have our Sunday class. It's just like this class, but a small group. And channel members can ask their questions at any time throughout the week, and I answer them for them on Sundays. So if you're interested in becoming a member, supporting the channel, you can click the join button here on this video or any of our videos and check out that and other perks I offer to my channel members. Thanks so much, everyone, for being a part of class today. It was great to see you. Look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Thank you.